Good evening, everybody. Tonight's guest is a sailor, an author, and a retired fireman, and traded the firehouse life for life on the hook. Stan Loveday lives at anchor on a sailboat called Southeast Up Disorder, a great name, in Key West with his wife. He works at the historic Key West Bight Marina. I've crossed paths with him many times over the years at the marina, and he's always been knowledgeable and very helpful and carries a calm, pleasant demeanor, which is nice. And I've seen him be tested for that. He's got a new book coming out in August 2025 called Let's Buy a Boat and Move to the Keys, or How to Move to Key West and Not Sink the Budget. It's not out yet, or I would have a link included, but it's coming. And if anyone's figured out how to do that, it's Stan. Before we get underway, and if you like these sailing stories, please consider liking and subscribing. It helps grow the channel. And let's see. It really helps grow the channel. I'm your host, Captain Tinsley of Sailing Vessel Salty Abandoned, a 1998 Island Packet 320. And this is the Salty Podcast, episode 66. Please help me welcome Stan Loveday.
Good evening, ma'am. How are you tonight?
Good evening. How are you? I'm doing great.
It's a nice balmy day here in Key West. A little bit of light rain splattering in the background, so you might get a little cloudiness behind us, but that's a normal Key West day.
Yes, and you are actually living on your boat in the mooring field.
In Key West.
Well, good. Well, I've got questions about, the logistics of all that, and we want to talk about your book. I really wanted to read it before you came on, but that wasn't quite possible because it's being released. What's the date?
It should be early August. Amazon release. They're very picky about early releases and releases on data. Amazon won't let you give information out more than 2 weeks prior to an early release. So
okay.
That's the problem that we come into. But it's basically a step-by-step guide to how to buy a boat and move to the Keys and do exactly what I'm doing.
Okay, good. Okay, so can I get you kind of more squared in the screen?
How about that?
Yeah, and you're a little closer to the mic now. I think that helps. Yeah, because the optics got to be good for all the clips I'm going to do. You're going to be everywhere.
Right.
Yeah, we're going to try to promote that book of yours. So let's just go ahead and start off. I've got some questions here, but if you want to go off on a tangent, feel free. You're currently on the hook or a mooring ball. I know the answer to that. Tell us, most people might not know the cost difference between anchoring, mooring ball, and dock. I was hoping since you work at a marina, you'd be great for that.
I can give you some ideas what the base is, what most people come down to. In Key West, you can pull up in Key West and drop an anchor anywhere in the boundaries of Key West. That's a free charge. There's nothing cost you anything to drop an anchor, spend a week, a month, whatever, in Key West on anchor. The two costs that you run into is what it costs you to come to shore and park your dinghy for the day or for the month, and what it costs you to buy a shower pass, stuff like that. That's a fixed number. Typically, you're looking at $15 a day to come to Key West, anchor your boat offshore, come in with your dinghy, as long as it's under 13 feet in total length, because the city and the state has kind of a rule, the dinghy's got to be less than 13 foot. Second thing is, our showers that they provide down in Key West are not part of the normal dinghy docks because it keeps the cost low for the people that don't need it. It runs about $35 a week to get a pass for a couple to go to shore, take a shower every day or 3 times a day. They don't really care, but to be able to come to shore.
Okay, so that's 35 plus 15.
Right. So you're talking like $50 a day if you're staying just a few days. If you're here for a month, Monroe County offers a free pump out service for your sewage, no charge. It's all covered under tax dollars. They don't charge you for it. So if you're on that list if you're going to be here for a few months, get on the list. It's a free service, and you can buy a monthly pass in the first 5 days of the month for $100 a month. I'm sorry, $110 a month. Went up a few weeks back or a few months back.
And that's for the bathrooms or
for the dinghy dock. So the dinghy dock to park your boat for a month is $110.
Okay.
For a month of the showers, and they don't limit it, for a month on the showers for a couple is $100. So for you to park your boat, come to shore, take a shower every single day, is about $210 a month.
Okay.
That's the cheapest you can do. A
Right.
lot of people, if you're going to be here for several months, they opt for the mooring field. The mooring field is run by the city. It's called City Marina at Garrison Bight, the mooring field. There's 149 facilities out here for the balls, and it runs about $450 a month. With that, they give you access to laundry facilities, they give you access to showers, car parking or scooter parking if you have a vehicle.
Nice.
So it's a very cheap expense. Now, let's take that as, okay, you say $450. Well, is that expensive? No. A typical mooring, if you went into a marina and say, I want to park my 40-foot boat in your marina for a month in the summer, you're going to look at about $3,000 a month plus electric to park your boat in Key West in a marina. So what you would spend for 8 months on a ball, you're going to spend in 1 month sitting in a marina.
Sweet.
Most cruisers come down here, they look at it and going, I don't want to live back in a marina. I don't want to sit in the marina. I want to be out where the water is. I don't need air conditioning out here. I'm sitting here, it's July 10th. I'm sitting on the top of my boat. Yes, there's a light sprinkle behind me. The average temperature outside right now is about 84 degrees. There's a nice 10-mile-an-hour breeze. It's comfortable. I'm not sweating. I'm not dying of heat. And I'm spending $450 a month sitting on a mooring ball with all these amenities, like somebody was paying $3,000 a month at a marina and covering the electric cost over and above that, plugging in for your air conditioning.
Right. And it's hot in the marina.
Key West is hot. The difference
In the marina. Yeah.
if you're on a ball or on anchor outshore, it's about a 5-degree temperature difference between where I'm at right now and going a half mile inshore. Once you hit the shoreline, your temperature goes up at least 5 degrees. So yes, if you're in a marina, you're going to need air conditioning. If you're in the mooring ball on an anchorage, you're not going to need the air conditioning.
And so you don't use air conditioning at all.
We have a 12-volt system we put on the boat for when it's really, really bad in the evenings, which is not that often. We've been in Key West now coming up on 8 years off the grid. A lot of people look and go, what does that mean? We've been to a dock to put our boat where we tied up in 8 years one time, and that was in Bimini about 6 years ago.
That's one of my questions I was going to ask you. I remember you telling me that.
Right. Most of the time, our boat either lives on an anchor or on a mooring boat. The boat is self-sufficient. So once you understand the difference between that, it makes a huge difference on what you spend every day, every month.
Now, how long does it take you to travel from your boat to work every day or to the dinghy dock?
From where I'm at, I'm literally about 1.1 miles from the dinghy dock from the mooring field. That's standard. If you were anchored out, you were coming in shore off, from anchorage or here in the mooring field, it takes me about 9 minutes to get from my boat to shore.
Nice.
2.5 minutes on the area where it's rough. So it's blowing 30 out here. You've got 2.5, 3-foot seas. Yeah, I get about 3 minutes of rough weather before I get close enough to shore where everything calms down. Then I'm at idle speed or there above, going into the docks and everything else. So it's not a bad ride for most of the cases which you look into.
Right. And also might as well cover, there's an upgrade at the dinghy dock if you want to pay for a specific spot.
Right. The Vantage is downtown at Key West Bight. It's the city facility downtown gives you an option. You can have general dinghy dock where you squeeze in, and in the winter season we can have 400 dinghies trying to fight for the same square footage. We've had people 3 rows deep on dinghy. However, they have an option for private dinghy docks where you have the same fleet every day. You come in, you tie up on number 24, number 12, whatever. You tie up there every day. It runs about $170 a month.
Okay, so about $60 more a month.
$60 more than the general docks. So think of coming into a parking lot. Well, go to Walmart. I got to fight to get a spot. Everything else, you pull in and go. I got front row parking every single day for an extra $60 a month. We did it for 2 years while we were sitting here in the mooring field. It absolutely is a no-brainer. And
what do you do now?
I work for the city right now as a dock master. I've been a dock master for Key West Bight for now going on 5 years. Basically what that means is I help everybody coming in, whether they come in by a big boat, $25 million boat, or the $500, skiff that's sitting out there with 2 people living on it, trying to eke out an existence in Key West.
Right. And you've helped Salty Abandon too.
Salty Bandit's been there a few times. He is absolutely wonderful to follow.
Thank you. Thank you for saying that. Let me just show you this picture of, this is the only picture I have of your boat right here.
It's a 50-foot Irwin. it was made in 1983. We've been on the boat now coming up on 18 years. We bought the boat while we were in St. Pete. We moved aboard in 2007 with 2 kids. They were 8 and 10, 2 birds that were 22 and 24 years old, and the 2 of us. We moved lock, stock, and barrel from a 3-bedroom, 2-bath house into a 50-foot sailboat.
Wow.
People look at me and go, was it difficult? No, if you know what you're doing and you have an argument about the next 6 months before you decide to move aboard, it's not bad. We issued the 2 kids 2 hard plastic totes and say, here's what you got. You can get the totes, you can move to the boat. If not, I'm leaving you on shore. And they look at me going, Dad. I'm like, no, that's the way it works. But no, it's not a difficult thing once you understand the logistics of living on a boat.
Well, here it is right here. I wish I had a closer picture, but how about Brat the cockatoo? Is he still with you?
We lost him about 2 years ago.
It
was
sorry.
a very sad statement, but no, he traveled the Bahamas with us for 1 full season. We spent almost 6 months in the Bahamas. He traveled with us. He's been on with us for 20-some years. We got him as a very small chick at about 2 days old. So cockatoos are very particular. They are very needy, absolutely wonderful pet and stuff like that. But we lost him about 2 years ago.
I'm sorry to hear that.
No big deal. Like I said,
yeah.
A lot of stuff, people look at us and go, well, how did you work getting a boat with, 2 kids, 2 birds, the 2 of you? It's finding the first thing you got to do is find the right boat for you.
Right.
You'll hear people talk about, well, I want to buy a boat. I want to fix it up, flip it. This isn't houses, people. You're not buying a house, flipping it, making more money, buy another boat. You need to find the boat you want to live on. And it doesn't matter if you're going to be on it 6 months, 6 years, 60 years. You want to find a boat and you fix it one time. The biggest mistake people make is believing that I can buy a boat, make changes, sell it for more money than I spent on it, and make enough to buy the next boat. It never works that way.
Melanie, I don't know if you know Melanie Sunshine Neal. She's written books too. She grew up on a boat. She said she's a broker now. She's like, it's not an investment. Nope. She tells all of her clients, this is maybe investment into your happiness or your...
You buy the boat that you want to be comfortable on. And if it's bigger than what you want right now, you buy the boat to be comfortable living on it.
Yes.
There's a very different, and one of the terms I go over on the book is, what's the difference between camping on a boat and living on a boat? If you have to wet a washcloth to wash your face and take a shower at the end of the day with a washcloth, you're not living on a boat, you're camping on the boat.
So wait, say that again. If you
buy a boat and to take a shower, you have to wet a washcloth, wipe your body with it. You're not really taking a shower. You're camping on the boat. You're not living on it.
Yes.
A true person that's living on a boat that spends time on it, they take normal hot showers. They take normal showers. They do normal dishes. They're not scrimping on water because they've designed a boat and built the boat around their needs. People have to understand, if you want to camp on a boat for a couple of weeks, you only got a chance to go out, 2-3 weeks a year. That's one thing. If you're really wanting to move on the boat, power, water, and hot water is a big thing on the boat.
You know what? It sounds like you're describing what you like, but also what your wife likes.
Happy life is a happy life.
That's the secret, right?
That's a statement you hear. And this is, what I would accept camping, she wouldn't accept as being the same.
Right.
Again, having been on the boat for 18 years, we've been what they call off-grid, means we're not tied to dock. We don't have shore power coming in. We've been off-grid for 8 years living in Key West. Okay,
so tell people, what is it on your boat that makes it where you can live off-grid?
3 things that comes into play. First thing is power. You have to have power to run your lights, and run your refrigeration, run your freezer. If you don't have enough power to do this stuff, you're sitting around with a candle on the table. That doesn't work. Solar and wind is 2 key elements living on a boat. Yeah. We carry enough solar and enough wind, even when it's overcast, the bad weather and stuff like that. We make power every single day that doesn't cost me burning diesel or generator gas to make the batteries recharge. Solar is number 1. If you have enough solar power, you can do anything about it. We're not talking about covering the deck and every surface in solar panels. The changes in solar capabilities over the last 5 years is amazing.
Now, how much solar do you have?
We run about 1,300 watts of solar. That's 4 panels, basically.
Yeah.
So we run 340-watt panels covering the needs of the boat.
Okay.
Now, with that panels, I'm able to run a water maker, which makes about 6 gallons an hour off the solar. I'm able to charge my batteries, do all my AC or my refrigeration, my freezer, all my lights and everything.
And you have lithium? Do you have lithium?
No, I still have AGM.
Okay.
I'm still old school. I've not been converted to the lithium mindset. There's a lot of issues with that.
Right.
Some of the stuff that comes in, it's very expensive. You have separate controllers. AGM still works for 90% of the boaters out there. If you talk to most of the people coming in the marinas, the liability of the lithium, the changes on their insurance coverage that's out there, when you put in lithium, it's not worth the change yet. 2-3 years from now, when they change the format of the lithium to a little bit safer compound, it'll be very much different. But
it's actually gotten safer in the last few years.
It has gotten safer. And in the next 3 years, you're going to see a chemistry change that will make it much more so.
Okay. Good. So, that's good info.
So I'm running like 800 amp hours of batteries on about 1,300 watts of solar. So
okay. So tell us how you, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
That's all right. Go ahead.
Well, how do you handle waste?
We do normal garbage collection for our day-to-day waste. So we have a garbage can here. We bag it up. We take it ashore when we go in there. In the Keys, they do free pump out for your sewage. So we do a 2-step process for our shower systems and the toilets. When we take a shower, and we do normal showers, we don't do the wet water, wet cloth. We do a normal hot water shower. It recovers it into about a 6-gallon holding tank. That holding tank we use to flush the toilets. So we flush the toilets with fresh water, not salt water. So A, you don't get the smell coming off of salt water when you flush it. And B, I'm recycling the same water I'm taking showers with to flush the toilet.
It just doesn't fill up your tank. Yeah.
Right. And that's
very smart. Did you come up with that, or is that a thing? I've never heard of that.
A lot of people, when you start looking at recovery times and stuff like that, or you look at the system down in the Keys where you have a zero discharge industry down here, you try to recover every bit of wastewater to reuse it. Your shower is a very clean water. Other than some soap products and a little bit of byproduct of dirt from your body, it's a very clean system. You recover that in a 6-gallon tank and you flush your toilet with it. A, you eliminate the smell coming off the salt water when you flush it. B, I can add deodorant into the tank from any point, and the water that you flush gives it that nice little blue tint so you don't get any smell from it. And I'm saving recovering the water to dual use it.
So smart. That is so smart. Yeah. And so how often do you come in for water?
We bring, with the water maker, our normal pattern is we make water about every day on the boat. We run a 12-volt water maker. Spectra 200D or 200T is an absolute godsend for most cruisers.
Is that a small one, or is that how?
It's a small one. It's rated at 8 gallons an hour. We run it off of solar. It runs about 6.3 gallons an hour production.
It just runs regularly?
Right, it runs regularly. I'm able to run that, from about 11 to 3 every day on a timer. It makes, 36, 40 gallons a day.
Oh, 11 to 3.
11
okay.
To 3.
During
so
the sun hours.
Sometimes it's up. Your battery's already full. So you don't have to, try to run a generator to run the water maker. If you make 40 gallons a day, the average cruiser looks at you and goes, you use 40 gallons a day? They live on about 4 gallons a day.
Right.
Typical cruiser, and I'll show you one, they depend on these 5-gallon, 6-gallon blue jugs. You'll hear people talking about it going, I've got to drag 4 of these in every day, fill them up, drag them back to my boat, fill up the tank so I can take a shower, I can do dishes.
I've seen them doing that.
It's a thunk, thunk, thunk. You'll hear them every morning. You hear people screaming and cussing. Cat left, knocked the water jug on. Somebody ran the shower a little bit too long. I'm out of water. That's one of the statements in the book was, how do you get away from doing this? Living on the boat.
Well, how much is this this one that you have, this water maker?
The Spectra we had, and we bought it literally.
I do know that brand.
We bought it 9 years ago. It's one of the top 3 industry brands out there. There's other ones there that do higher production, a little cheaper. But what you want to look at is it bulletproof? Do I have to stop and adjust things every morning? Do I have to do something? Do I have to be here when it starts up? We spend about $6,500 on the water maker. Probably
Okay.
the third most expensive piece of equipment we bought on the boat. Number one would probably have been the water maker. Number two was the dinghy and the motor. Number three was the solar and stuff like that.
And
But
where did you put it? Is it like permanently attached, or is
it's
it like
permanently
a?
attached down below the sink. It's square footage. You're talking of an area about 3 by 1. It's a very small footprint, for what it is.
So it's hidden.
It's
It's
hidden.
okay.
Yeah.
I was thinking about getting a little portable one, but that sounds very doable.
The Rainmans are the portable ones. They run off a Honda 2000 generator. They're very capable. They're high production. You'll run 18, 20 gallons an hour.
Wow.
Most people, they'll run it for 5 or 6 hours, and then they have to pickle it. So you put solution in to make it stable, and they don't run it again for a week, 10 days. By running this one, the Spectra, on a 12-volt system, it runs about 9 amps. So I'm putting out 35 amps an hour off my solar. So I'm running 9 on the water maker for 4 hours when everything else is full. So I'm using energy that wouldn't be going anywhere to make water that I can use all day long.
Okay. Yeah. I'm thinking for my boat. That's really the only thing. I mean, if I'm going to go cruising and be really off the grid.
Here's the analogy I give most people. You're in the middle of the Bahamas. You're in this quiet little anchorage. There's nobody around for 70 miles. The nearest place to get gasoline is 80 miles down the island. You're sitting there. You've been here a week. You're loving the place. Your water gets a little low.
You don't want to leave.
I don't want to leave. And do I want to use the gasoline I brought? I've got 10 gallons of gas in cans. Do I want to use it to make water? Or do I want to use it on my dinghy to go where I want to go? If I can run my water maker off of solar, and it costs me nothing to do that. I'm not burning dinosaurs to make water. I'm not burning diesel or generator, time to make water. I can run it off of solar. Why would I not want to do that? It's a zero impact cost on your bottom dollar line item.
And all this is in the book, right?
All this is in the book.
This is great stuff. It's just great. Okay, so you already kind of covered a couple things here. We talked about the dinghy dock. What's the hardest part of living at anchor that most people don't expect?
It's your
or a mooring.
Even the anchor dinghy, doesn't matter. It's your day-to-day travel from your boat back to shore.
That's what I thought.
One thing you have to look at is, if you live in town, if it's raining outside, you dart from your house to your car. You've got a 15, 20-second dart over the car. If you're living offshore, whether it's on a mooring ball, on an anchor, or anything else, you have the time you get from inside your boat into your dinghy. Now you've got a 5 to 15-minute ride to shore. 3 things that are very important. The size of your dinghy, it's like living in the mountains. If you have a Yugo living in Nebraska, fine. You have a Yugo living in Anchorage, Alaska, you're not going to get anywhere. So
right.
The dinghy is very important getting back and forth from your
boat.
boat.
What do you have?
We have a West Marine 11-foot dinghy with a 25 horsepower motor.
Oh, wow. Okay.
It handles 2 people. It's a total. The motor weighs 137 pounds. The dinghy weighs 155 pounds. So empty weight with the 2 of them, about 300 pounds. But it'll handle 4 people with bad weather with no problem whatsoever.
Yeah, because you got the wind and you got bad weather,
rough weather. So the dinghy being able to get in and out of shore without having to worry about breaking down. The second thing to understand is it's going to rain in Florida. No matter where you're at, it's going to rain 1 out of 5 days. And
right.
whether the weather's bad or not bad or storming, then you have to be conscious about that part of it. So the travel time from your boat to shore, most people are less than 15 minutes.
Okay. And John, Key West John, people know on this channel, if anybody watches, they know who he is. I call him Key West John, John Fletcher. Yep. He would tell me stories about someone coming in, a long ride in, and, they forgot their wallet.
Yep. The second thing you want to add on any boat that you even think about is a very good dry bag. You want to be able to put your phone in it, your tablet in it, your wallet in it, and you never get off the boat without that dry bag. It's like thinking about, you grab your keys, everything else, you go, where's the dry bag? Everything goes in the dry bag.
So you got to train yourself not to forget anything.
Yes, because it's not like walking back up the door going, I forgot my keys at the front of the door. I'm 15 seconds down the parking lot. You're sitting there 15 minutes shore. You go, crap, I left my key to get in the gate, or my key to get on the car, or my wallet's sitting on the boat. Now I'm 15 minutes back out there and 15 minutes
And
back,
you're late for work.
and you're late for work, or late for meeting somebody, friends, whatever.
Right.
We've
Okay.
never done that.
Oh no, about once a week.
For those who don't know, that's Mrs. What is her first name?
Christina.
Christina. That's right. Christina is chiming in the background there. Would love to see her on camera.
Sorry.
If she wants, or she could just talk from the background. Oh, there she is. How you doing?
Hello.
So it's really cool. I've talked about it on this channel many times. I've met so many, I go all the way from Alabama all the way to the Keys. And so I'm in marinas all the time. And there's so many guys that I run into that are living on their boats. And all they want is a woman to come and live with them. And it's just hard. It's hard to find.
Wife.
What did she say?
Happy wife, happy life.
But a lot of women wouldn't do what you're doing there, Christina.
No. I mean, I grew up in small town Illinois. We had a lot of challenges in the small town with, power, water. Where they use propane with the big propane tank in the yard.
Oh, you were rural.
Yes. Our
Okay.
town was about 1,300 people.
Wow. So this is nothing.
No. Okay. Yeah. No.
Now, do you have 2 dinghies? How does that work?
We started with 2. We had one. We bought a second dinghy. And what we found was the headache with the second dinghy was not worth it. Believe it or not. We looked at, we bought a whole second dinghy, second motor, figured she teaches special ed at the local school here. We settled into Key West after COVID. We paused for a little bit of time. She went back teaching special ed. I got sucked into working the marina downtown.
No, I made him go back to work.
But
it's got to be some good city benefits.
Yeah, there is. But look at it going, the logistics of 2 dinghies and then tying them up to your boat is the second problem. Most people look at it, well, it's just another item. No, it's a whole second environment you look at. How do I keep my dinghy safe when the weather's bad? If I tie it to the side, the boat's bouncing around.
Hold on.
You leave the window open? Oh, back bedroom. So
Got some rain coming.
We've got a couple squall lines that come through here. So one of the things, and this is one word advice for all the people listening.
All right. Tip of the day.
Tip of the day. If you live on your boat, anytime you decide to get off the boat, never ever leave a window open on top deck.
Right.
Covered with a cover, I guarantee you'll come back 3 hours later and there'll be this one rainstorm will come out of nowhere and you'll be sleeping in a wet bed.
And you'll be on shore panicking.
Yes.
Never leave your windows open.
You'll look at the boat and going, we left the window open. It's raining like a monsoon out there. It hasn't rained in 5 days and it's raining right over the boat.
Yeah.
Anytime you leave a window open.
Stressful. Yeah. And this is all in the book, I hope.
Yes.
These are all great tips. Okay. Provisioning. How do you handle provisioning?
When we first decided to take off cruising, now understand we spent 10 years at the dock. We spent 10 years prepping the boat.
Where?
In St. Pete. We're at the St. Pete Municipal.
Okay, I know. I've been there. Yep.
It's a very nice marina. We spent the last year and a half packing the boat full of food. We could have gone 2.5 years, never touched land. Didn't need water, didn't need anything. We had everything on the boat.
I love it.
Then you get someplace like the Bahamas. We pulled ashore in the Bahamas, and 5 out of 7 nights we ate in town. We visited the locals. We went to the local restaurants. We had food on this boat that could have taken us 2.5, 3 years to ever eat. I still have supplies we put on this boat 8 years ago that I look back and go, yeah, we overdid it about 2-fold more than anything needed.
No.
We
But
still
it's there.
we still have toothpaste in places. We still have deodorant in places. We packed away enough rice that I could have fed half of South Africa with the rice we put on.
And hopefully coffee.
I had coffee.
She had coffee. Oh, yes.
Ma'am.
So one of the keys you look at is, and this has been talked about in about 100 books, if you don't eat it on a normal day, don't buy it to buy it as provision. If you're not eating sardines, why would you buy sardines? If you don't eat canned ham, why would you buy 10 cans of canned ham if you never eat it? So
Makes sense.
a lot of it is, what is your normal dietary needs? what do you normally eat? You know, I'm a very much meat and potato person. I like pasta. I like rice. I can eat rice 15 times a day and not blink. Her, on the other hand, goes, about the third day we had rice, she goes, there's something more than out there than rice. I'm going, I'm happy with the rice. She goes, no, we're not doing that.
So do you keep a car in town?
We have a car in town, and this is one of the advantages of being in a mooring field. Key West, the most expensive item to have in Key West is a car. Parking in Key West is about $30 a day. You park your car downtown in a parking lot.
Isn't it $40 at the marina right
$30
there?
to $40, depending on where you find a spot to put it.
Yeah.
The mooring field gives you your spot to park your boat, gives you a spot to park your dinghy, and it gives you a parking spot for one car for the entire month for that $450.
Wow.
That car spot in Key West is a $200 to $300 a day, or $200 to $300 a month spot. So if you look at the advantage of that, and again,
Yeah.
the island's small. The typical downtown area is a 1x2 island. You can walk most of the island without ever needing a car. You
Right.
can go to grocery stores,
A bike.
Lakes Winn-Dixie, all this stuff down here with an Uber ride or a taxi ride. It's not expensive. But if you want to explore around, stuff like that, a car is nice, but parking it in the normal areas is difficult.
Well, you want to know how I provision when I'm there or any marina?
Sure.
Publix delivery.
Public foot, yeah.
I love Uber Eats.
Uber
How
Eats,
much
yeah.
Uber Eats, although the DoorDash service is not great in Key
It's
West.
Key West. It's Key West.
No,
There's
they can't read the directions.
No.
Uh,
So that's
Let's go back and talk about coffee.
what did she say?
Let's talk about coffee.
Let's talk about coffee. All right. I love coffee. I'm drinking some coffee right here.
I'm a Starbucks-aholic.
Mm-hmm.
So, knowing we were going to take off, and we weren't going to have, I couldn't just make a pot of coffee on the boat because we weren't going to have the power for that. I had to figure out how to make coffee and what kind of coffee to take with me to the Bahamas. So I bought a percolator, I bought a French press, and I bought an espresso machine, all to use on the stove. So for about 3 months before we took off, I was experimenting on what kind of coffee can I make on the boat that I'm going to actually drink and I can fix on the stove. So you love
Which
coffee,
is propane, right?
which is propane.
which is propane
Okay.
on a flame stove. So like I said, I had a Keurig at school, I had Starbucks, I had all the power on the dock. When you leave the dock, you got to look at the power for coffee. So I
Right.
experimented, and sometimes I did the French press, sometimes I did the espresso little on the stove, and sometimes I did the percolator. So you got to figure out what you can make and how to make it, and what you.
I use my little Keurig, and I've got lots of power to, not as much as you. I have about 375 watt panels,
Right.
and
my Keurig's at school.
it handles it. It handles it. It uses a lot of power, that little
I
Keurig, but
bet I could
perfect
Keurig
coffee.
on the boat, but I work every day, so through the school year.
Yeah. But
Summer recovery.
this is the stuff when you first, and this is one of the advantages coming to like the Keys. When you buy a boat, get everything set. Well, we're going to the Bahamas. No, what you want is about 3 to 4 months sitting in the Keys. Two
Right.
reasons. You can park down here. You're still close enough to Amazon, parks, West Marine, all this stuff to fix the stuff that you're going to break. The first 3 months you're living off the hook. People looking and go, well, living on the dock is the same as living anchored off.
No,
It's a
not.
whole different change. By giving you that 3 to 4 months of actually using the stuff that you want to see what works and what doesn't on anchor makes a huge difference. And you're
What's
still
sure to happen?
which is
Repairs.
sure to happen. And you're still in the Key. You're still in the States where you can get the parts, you get the stuff, get the supplies, and you actually work through the problems that you would normally not see. When we first bought the boat and we were getting ready, we bought a small dinghy that was, like an 8-foot dinghy with a 3-horse motor. We thought it was great. I came down to visit a friend, and we went through one little channel. I'm going, yeah, that dinghy is not going to work for anything down here. And the first time you look at it going, well, what are you talking about? It works fine up there. You don't have 4.5 knot currents. You're not fighting with bad weather. You're not fighting with 3 extra people on the boat that you don't normally have. So stuff like that you experience down here gives you a chance to look at what works and what doesn't.
That's great advice. What'd she
we
say?
would go visit our friends who had a boat here in Key West, and we would see how they were doing things, and we would make a list. Here's my original list. Oh, okay. Well, I'm not doing that. Oh, that's a great idea. Nope, not doing
that's not
that.
gonna work.
That's not gonna work. Oh, it's a better idea. So you learn what they were doing and what you are willing to do, and or want to do in your boating life. So we learned a lot just coming down and hanging out with them for 3 or 4 days on how they were doing things and how I want to do things.
And a lot of that I've built into the book. So to explain, when you look at someone asks you, well, what kind of dinghy, or what do you look for lights at night? How do you find your boat after dark? We went through a lot of that to explain. You come out at night, you've been in town all day. It's right at sunset. Weather's moving in. Rain starts falling. How do you pick your boat out of 350 boats sitting out there at anchor? We talk about that. We talk about how to find your boat when the weather's not good. 2 o'clock in the afternoon, I can drive to my boat without blindfold and know where my boat's at. Take that same thing at 8 o'clock at night when the weather moving in, you got a squall line coming across. How do you pick your boat out of 250 boats out there, be able to go to your boat without driving for 15 minutes going, well, it should be there. Nope, it should be there. Nope. And you driving back and forth and you never see the boat.
So what's your secret?
One of the little hints I give people is everybody shines the spotlight at the hull of the boat. You have all these boats lined up. The boats blend behind one another. But what they fail to look at is on a sailboat, you have this 50, 60-foot mast sticking up in the air. What we did is about 40 feet up in the air, we took some of the Solus graded reflective tape. You have white and red. You can wrap around the top of the mast somewhere up there with a couple of bands.
Tip of the day. Another tip of the day.
You can take a spotlight from a half a mile away and hit one of those reflective bands, and I can pick my boat up over a half a mile away without ever knowing where the boat is, just by shining the light in the air above the base of the boat.
What kind of flashlight is this?
We bought a Home Depot $9.95 flashlight. We tried it out. We bought a West Marine $30 one. We've done the same thing. It's because of the grade of the reflective tape that you're using makes the difference of what you see back. Now, the second thing we did on our boat, since we've been down here, and we did it in the Bahamas, was we put a set of LED lights on the bimini top. Everybody's got colors and everything else. We bought a set of $20 lights that change color all night long. They draw very low amperage. So I'm sitting out here in the middle of the night. Everything's dark. And you see this one boat going red, green, blue, red, green, blue, red, green, blue. And that's my boat sitting there. So
great idea.
Between the reflective tape and the light up top, if the lights aren't working, but the lights changing colors, I can come out of the Key West area where the mooring field has got the dinghy dock. It's a 3/4 mile ride to my boat, and I can see the reflective lights changing colors on my boat 3/4 mile away.
Wow.
Those lights are $22 on Amazon right now.
Yes, I have, those little strip lights.
Yep. And other people actually have gotten to the point where they'll use us as a beacon going, that light is there, so I'm 3 boat rows up north. So when we happen to forget to turn them on or we turn them off.
Oh, look, is that a kitty?
That's one of the cats on the boat.
Oh, hi, Billy.
Oh, I'm going to be bringing 2 of my cats this time. So they've never been on the boat, but I've been taking them in the van to try to get ready for it.
Well, this is Bowie. He's almost
Bowie,
7.
almost 7.
What's his name?
Bowie.
What a great name.
So yeah, he's been to the Bahamas. He's been with us 7 years. He's a boat cat.
Let me see that face. I can't quite. I see whiskers and ears. Oh my gosh. Hey, baby. Oh, goodness.
Grumpy old man.
Very sweet. Yeah, I have my list ready. There's actually more of a checklist to get the cats into the Bahamas than the boat.
Yes, there is.
Well, also cat litter.
Cat litter, yeah.
People look at, and this is stuff that when you start going from a house or an apartment, moving to the boat,
yeah,
you have to figure out
you got to store all that.
To do it.
Right.
So,
Tell me.
Typical cat litter is your clay cat litter. It spreads everywhere. The sand and stuff like it's everywhere. You'll be stepping on it in the middle of the night. Nobody wears shoes down below. You might wear them up top, but get down below where the cats are at. Step on it and going, ow! Going, cat, you're a mess. So there's a couple of systems out there that use a ceramic pellet and a pad system.
Yes.
So it doesn't spread. It spreads not as bad as the other stuff. Right. But the pads absorb the urine and keeps the odor down, stuff like that. we bought all this stuff and we tried multiple different types. And in the book, I'll leave a link on the backside for some of the stuff. But a lot of the pelletized cat systems will use a separate pad for the urine is a very much advantage for people living on boats.
Okay, so what is the brand that worked for you?
It's worked very well. We've had it for
What is it? What brand?
The Breeze BREEZE system cat litter.
Okay, I got to look into that because that saves a lot of. You don't have to have the big bags of litter.
You don't have the big cat litter bags. You don't keep throwing it away. You scoop the litter out of it, and you change the pads. With one cat, we change it once a week. With 2 cats, it's about we got 3 right now temporarily, so we change it about every 3 days. So
okay.
Some of the things people don't understand looking forward. Once you're in the islands, you pay to get rid of garbage. It's a luxury up here. You go to the dumpster and throw away 3 bags of garbage. Nobody cares. Down there, you're looking at $5 to $8 a bag every time you take a bag of garbage to the store.
And you got to pay for water down there.
And you got to pay for water.
So all this pays off.
The difference, saving on the amount of garbage you produce by your cat and stuff like that, other stuff, it all adds up in time and money for making it easier for you to go places.
Good to know. Hey, we got a lot of people watching and would love to. This is an interactive podcast. This guy's a wealth of knowledge. If you have questions, go ahead. I'll put them up on the screen and Stan can answer them. Would love to get some participation.
Absolutely.
And I definitely want to look into this thing before I come down there with the litter, because if I use one big one like I use in my van, it has to be emptied every 2 days.
Yep.
And it's cumbersome to carry all that litter.
We get about a month out of the set of pellets.
Okay. All right. Good to know. Another tip of the day. Okay. Have you ever doubted the safety or sustainability of this lifestyle? I want to hear what both of you have to say about that.
If you build it right and you set it up right, safety is a very standard statement. But if your boat is capable and you plan ahead, safety is not a big deal. We've been on the boat, like I said, 18 years. We've been off grid coming up on 8. We have gone off the boat, yes, when the weather's gotten too bad. Mm-hmm. Not so much because we don't feel comfortable on the boat, but because either the people we had with us or the grandkid that was with us, we opted to stay inshore for 2 or 3 days when the weather was too bad.
What about the cats?
The cats,
we
bought them in twice. Both of them during hurricanes.
Okay.
Only because we didn't leave them on the boat unattended. Now, having said that, we run a set of cameras on the boat that we use Starlink. For people that have not experienced Starlink before, Starlink is a game changer on the boating industry.
Yeah.
I'm able to monitor my boat 1,000 miles away. I can look at the cameras. I can look at the bilge pump counts. I can look at the animals on the boat. I can look at my connections to the anchor or the mooring ball from wherever I'm at. We just spent 3 days in the Bahamas. We took one of the Margaritaville cruises over the Bahamas. We weren't here at the boat. I have cameras that monitor my connection to the mooring ball. I have monitored connections to my bilge pump counters, monitor the cats and that, and they're two-way interactive. I can talk to the cameras, and the cameras are $39 a piece.
But also, we're talking about more, like, we invest in great lines, like the Dyneema is a great line to connect to your boat and then to the mooring ball.
As a safety backup.
We have if something breaks loose, like during Irma, it wasn't the mooring balls that broke, it was the lines and or the cleats the lines were attached to.
Okay.
So if we had, like, he'll dive down, he'll attach the Dyneema line to below the mooring ball. So if our lines break, if our cleats break, whatever we have the Dyneema attached to is not going to break. The Dyneema is not going to break if the ball breaks loose.
So you always look at the secondary. You look at other options. If I want to be safe, my normal lines, we replace them once a year. So in the last 4 years, we've lived on a mooring ball here in Key West. So once a year, I take the lines I've used for the last year, I throw them away. I give them away to friends.
Now, which lines? All of your? I mean,
any of the lines going from the boat to the mooring ball.
Okay.
They're a three-strand nylon because they're a stretch line.
Yeah.
We also use like she said, we use a backup Dyneema. So if everything else fails, if the ball fails, my cleats fail, my boat's not going to leave more than about 15 feet from where it's tied at right now.
Yeah.
That's
And
why
I was there on my boat right after Irma, and I saw all the boats that were
Yeah.
everywhere on Christmas Tree Island, sunk up on the rocks. It was
And you look-
crazy. And
you
you
look-
were there? You were there?
we were
No,
there.
were in St. Pete.
We were here 3 weeks after Irma. We were in St.
No,
Pete during Irma.
November 1st.
We
Okay.
got so it's 5 weeks after Irma. So basically, but what we looked at even day to day, we've been through several tropical storms here, close calls. We look at day to day. We look at how do I make the boat safe today? How to make it safe tomorrow? The lines you use connecting your boat to the ball or to your anchor. We replaced the entire anchor system and all the chain in that after so many years, knowing that it's what your boat lives on. If I drop an anchor, I don't want the stuff that I'm putting down to fail. So, of all the things you look at, the lines you're connected with, the anchor you drop to shore, or drop to the bottom, that's the stuff that your boat lives and dies by.
As far as
Right.
safety, though, we make sure we have 2 or 3 lines or 4 lines coming from the mooring ball to the boat. If we know there's a storm coming up, we add extra lines and we attach them at different points, further at midship or even the aft of the boat, so that we have more than one point of lines attached from the mooring ball to the boat. In case the front cleats break or the mid cleats break, we have something else attached to other cleats. So as far as safety
Redundancy. You're looking at redundancy.
What kind of I've heard of that. I mean, my boat's pretty strong with the cleats, but what kind of boats have you seen that where the cleats broke?
Most of your 30 to 45 foot boats, if you look at the design of them, the cleats are bolted to the deck or through the tow rail. There's no backing plates.
Okay.
So what happens on heavy, and it's not the winds that get it. You get the wave action and the jerking of the boat. So you get you get a 40-mile-an-hour wind. It's not a big deal. You make it a 60-mile-an-hour wind and a 4-foot chop. That boat is yanking. So every time it yanks, it's trying to pull the same bolts out of the deck.
Yeah.
The number one thing that most insurance company looks for is the cleats on your deck that's holding you to your ball, do they have a backing plate to them?
And I guess it's certain brands that have that, right?
Certain brands have that. Most of your better brands, and it can be specific. We've seen, Genoes that don't have through bolted cleats. I've seen, island packets that the boat will come apart before you rip a cleat off the deck.
Right.
And some of them, the people go back, and if you're living on the boat and you're there, and it's not a weekend boat, you're not talking to a guy that comes down for 3 weeks out of the summer, going to come to Key West, anchor out. His boat is not going to get changed. The people that are looking to live on their boat long term, we're talking 1 year, 3 year, 10 years, whatever. They look at it going, how do I make the boat survivable? Anything I go into.
Yeah.
Your anchoring system, your cleat systems, stuff like that. How do you tighten the boat down so it's not getting wet? That's stuff you look at on a longer term basis.
And you're a handy guy?
I'm handy to a point.
Okay.
Mechanically, you become a jack of all trades. Working on a boat, you tend to be a little bit of electrician, a little bit of plumber, a little bit of mechanical. So you learn your boat inside and out. The longer you're on the boat, and this is where the difference between buying a boat, keeping it 3 years, selling it, buying another boat, you never learn the boat inside and out.
Right. Yeah.
I can look at my boat and I can pull up to it coming in and go, oh, we're listing a little bit to the right. The water tanks must be almost empty. Got to turn the water maker on tonight because the boat's tilted a little bit. They go, well, how can you tell? I go, because the boat sits this way, and if it's sitting a little off or it's sitting a little nose high, I know things are not right.
Right. Okay. Yeah. This is all good stuff, Stan. This is all good stuff. Because there's so many people, as you know, from working at a marina, and me just from going into marinas everywhere, people walk by and what do they say? Oh, we want to do this. Have you ever sailed before? No. Well, what size boat are you thinking about getting? Oh, 50. They don't even.
Yeah, no clue.
They've never even owned a boat yet. And so there's so many people out there dreaming of this.
Yes.
So here's what we did. We went to boat shows. We went to the St. Pete boat show. We went to the
That's
Miami
a good
boat
one.
show. We went to the Fort Lauderdale boat show. And we started on a 36-foot sailboat. We knew we wanted sail. So then we started 36. I'm like, nope, too small. I have 2 children, 2 girls.
Yeah. Yeah.
They feel each other if they're in the same cabin.
It seems a little tight with all those people.
So I need 3 cabins minimum. All right, so I cook a lot. I love my kitchen. If the layout's not right, 36 was not big enough. So move to 38. You literally go to the boat show and you start at 36 foot and you walk onto all the boats until you get to the boat that's big enough that you're comfortable with. If it's just Stan and I, 45 probably would have been fine.
Now but the good words of wisdom that I'm going to offer here, and I got it from somewhere else, don't get anything bigger than you need. You need it.
Correct.
It
Right.
needs to be comfortable, but don't
And
get it any because
someone's
everything is more. Everything costs more.
Everything
Everything
costs more.
sales.
Talk us into a 54 foot or even a 65 foot Irwin. I'm like, no. Number one, that's too big of a boat. Number two, where we're going to park it. Number three, I need more than myself and my husband to sail the boat.
That's
Right.
the key.
You need crew.
If you have to bring extra friends to move your boat, you'll never move the boat.
Right.
So if it's a husband and wife or whatever, or one person, the boat has to be capable of being moved by that one person, those two people, efficiency.
Yeah.
You know, and this is the part that so many people miss. You can buy a brand new boat that's, $2.5 million. But you know what? If the boat doesn't work for you, you'll never take it out.
So do your research, number one. Look at
Mhm.
different boats. Actually go to the boat shows. Walk onto these boats. Walk onto the Hunters. Walk onto the Benettos. Walk onto the Genoas. Walk
The
onto
Morgans and
boat.
Island Packets.
Island Packets. Walk on. Now, if you want a power boat, walk onto the power boats. See what's going to work for you for a power boat. Walk onto the boats. Look at what do you do every day? What do I need? What are my requirements? So one of the requirements that we had on the sailboat was I want a center cockpit because I don't want to crawl into my bed at night and sit up and hit my head.
Okay.
That's
If
one of
on-
the things when you
If
look
on
at
your aft cockpit boat, sometimes you're crawling into your bedroom, into your bed. If you sit up, you're going to hit your head.
So the main stateroom is in the back on your boat?
we have an aft cabin.
Oh, wow. I have to come see your boat next time I'm
On
there.
all the cabins, though, if you sit up in the boat on your bed, you're not going to hit your head.
And
Right.
that's a determination that everybody has to make. And
Yeah.
this is the part that
Oh, also, do you want to walk around a mast in the middle of your living room?
to give you an idea of
So-
some of the criteria I had when I looked at the boat was I wanted a boat that if I had two friends on the boat, somebody didn't have to sit down, somebody walked by them. Number two, I wanted two masts so that if something happened, I still had one mast that was up. I look at redundancy. I want two options, going forward. And like she said, the third one was working fire department for 30 some years. If noise hit, I sit bolt upright. Like a prime example of a Morgan 49. If you're in the back cabin on a Morgan 49 and you sit up, your head is going to hit the ceiling. And that's where getting on the different boats and seeing some of the differences make a huge difference on
Right.
your livability.
Yeah, you should lay down in the bunk and try it out, right?
Right now, also, the hunters, for all the women out there who are curious about boating, a hunter is made to appeal to a female.
Or Beneteau.
Or
The
Beneteau.
Beneteau are made to appeal to.
Or an Island Packet.
Yeah.
They're made to appeal to a woman who wants a nice boat, who has this and that, this and that. However, knowing people who have owned a hunter, the Beneteaus aren't about the hunters, though. I've known people who had the hunter, waded at 3 to 4 foot seas, and walked the bow flex.
I did what?
The bow
Flex.
would actually flex a little bit on some of the hunters.
Yeah.
Oh.
This is the difference between
And the hunters are beautiful. I
They're
walked up to a
beautiful
hunter,
boats.
I'm like, oh, I really like this boat. Look at all the cabin space. Look at this. Look at that. I'm like, it's for me. It's not for him. It's for short term in the mooring field, in the marina.
your typical coastal
cruiser. It's not for going to the Bahamas. People take the Bahamas.
I call those production boats.
Yes.
They are production boats. And they're for
I
the
do not
females.
have a production boat.
There are the females who the males are trying to talk into boating.
Yes. Trying to convince her to get on a boat to live on it full time. That's the boats you'll convince them on. However, about 5 years down the road, you'll go, yeah, I don't want to take this boat offshore. I've seen what it's done. And again, every boat's a little different. You buy 3 Irwins You can buy 300s, one after another, and every one of them be different.
Not that people have never done it. People go
They
to
do
the
it every day.
Bahamas in 36-foot boats, 40-foot boats, different kind of sailboats, different kind of. They go to the Bahamas or the Caribbean every single day. It's not like you can't do it, but you have to figure out what your level of comfort needs to be. What are you willing to compromise? What are you willing to not have? Or what do you have to have to be comfortable to live on the boat, not camp on the boat?
So why don't we all talk about now what's your hurricane plan?
Where we're
Say it's a 3. Well, say it's a 2. What do you do for 2?
Here's my statement I use to most people. In the Key West area or any of the Keys, your typical hurricane you see down here is a 1 borderline 2. They don't have time to develop to a strong Cat 4, Cat 5. Irma was a very unique storm. It developed way offshore. It had a long time to develop. Most of your storms you get down this way are very short-lived when they're here. They develop much more when they pass here. So your typical Cat 1, Cat 2, we look at it, we tighten everything down, we take out an extra windage, we drop the covers on the biminis, we take down the wind covers and all that. We tie the sails down, we put extra lines to the mooring bar. A Cat 1, Cat 2, my boat won't leave a mooring bar. I won't be on it. I'll take we call it a staycation. We'll grab a hotel and room in town for 3 nights.
Now, do they take birds?
They take birds, yes. They take pets.
They do?
Yes, they do.
Some of them, yes.
Some of them do.
Yes.
But a Cat 1, Cat 2 in the Keys is not unheard of if you're on a secure anchorage like a mooring field.
A Cat 1 or 2 is usually passing you by and heading to me.
Yes, that's exactly what it is. A Cat 3 is a borderline storm where you have to look at your options. Our option was, if it's not going to be Cat 3 till we're past here, we'll do what we've done. If we expect a direct hit from a Cat 3 greater, I'll make an option to pull it out of the water. This is the caveat that everybody has to make a decision of what they want to do.
Stock Island?
Stock Island's one of them, or you can go north if you have time. Robbie's another one, 3D. There's several of them down here. Yeah. Or you can run up to Naples, stuff like that. The condition we'll look at is is my boat at greater danger sitting on the hard on jack stands in bad weather, or if I beef it up where it's sitting,
and it can be
it can be greater damage sitting on a hard, because if one boat taps over, everybody follows with it. So it's a case by case, individual person's desire. Me, Cat 1, Cat 2, it's going to sit right on this ball with extra lines. It's done that. We were here during Ian. We had 92-mile-an-hour gusts coming through the boat. We broke a safety line and busted a zipper on a stack bank. I'm perfectly happy to replace those. That's not a big deal. On a Cat 4, there's no bets. Cat 4,
there was that Ida, or there was one that went by you while I was there, and I had 12 lines on my boat.
Yes. And
is that the one?
And you look at that and you go, is it better to be in a marina or be anchored out? And again, it's all about windage. If I'm sitting in a marina slip and I'm getting hit broadside with the winds, the boat's rocking into the dock next to me, I'm getting what they call dock rash because I'm rubbing against the poles. Is that better than sitting on a ball or sitting where you're secure? And again, it depends on your knowledge, your basis, how long you've been with the boat. If I'm a brand new boater with a boat I've never been at, I'll park in the marina and put enough lines on it look like a spider monkey went crazy.
And we've done that.
We've done that. First year we had the boat, we had a threat of storm. I told people, I said, I think the spider monkey went nuts and had about 18 as we've gone through more and more of it and we've done stuff, we've become more knowledgeable how the boat handles in bad weather, how the windage is at. What do you drop to make things change? Think of standing out in 50-mile-an-hour winds, take a 4x4 sheet of plywood and hold it against the wind. That small bit of area is a huge amount of force. Every time you can drop that much windage off the front of your boat from being pushed on, that drops the amount of drag on the boat and anchor and everything else.
But also, one reason we go in is not because we're not comfortable on the boat in a Cat 1 or Cat 2. It's because we both work. If we have to work, if I have to go to school, he has to go to work, the dinghy ride from here to the shore could be dangerous. We've lost a lot of people out here in the marine field and anchorage because they had no other choice but to go to their boat in their dinghy. I mean, we have the bigger dinghy, the bigger motor. However, in 4-foot waves, 30 to 40 knot winds, it could get very dangerous for us coming to and from the boat. So to be safer, we will stay in town, tie everything down, and 9 times out of 10 we let the cats in the boat because they have enough food and water for a couple of days. So they're not going to starve. They might think they're going to starve, but they're not going to
The
starve.
boat's not going to do anything different on a 45-mile-an-hour wind it does every day.
Correct.
So that part of it, the boat's stable. It's getting in and out of the boat to shore that you look at the risk. That's where your greatest danger getting on and off the boat.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
The second thing that people make a mistake of, they go, well, I'm going to sit on the boat if it's 80-mile-an-hour winds. I can save the boat if it breaks loose.
You
Wrong.
can't.
That boat is going to go one direction. That's with the wind, wherever it ends up at. Even the Coast Guard, FWC will all tell you, if the winds cross about 45 mile an hour, you will not save your boat wherever it's going. It's going to end up in the direction the wind breaks off. It's going to land wherever. And the only difference is, do you get hurt or more getting on and off the boat when it gets grounded? So
Yeah.
that's the hard part that people don't understand. We look at it as going, we've been experienced. We've been on, like I said, been in the boat for this many years, having worked fire department before all this. I look at the risk benefit is, I'm going to spend $80 for the night at a hotel or $100 for the night for the hotel. That's fine. We spend 2 nights there. People call it snow days up north. We call it, stay home days down here. Staycation.
Right. Okay, so here's some lightning round questions. What's your go-to weather app or source for getting in the dinghy?
Weather Track. WEATHERTRACK. It's an Apple app. It's like $9 for a lifetime subscription. It gives me forecasting models, not only for the GFS, but the Euro. I can pick the model. I can go out 3 to 5 days. Predict wind is fine, very short time. Windy, I'm not as fond of.
I like passage weather.
Passage weather is great if depending on the area. And this is
Okay.
where 1 to 3 days out in the Keys, you can predict 1 to 3 days. Beyond 3 days anywhere in the Keys, it's throwing a dart at the wall.
Is that with any of them?
Any of them.
Okay. What one tool or piece of gear you wouldn't live on the mooring without? Well, I would probably is going to be whatever attaches you to the mooring ball, right?
That or that's a good question. I keep a very full tool set on a quick grab bag. Think of it,
Ditch bag.
Screwdriver, something to fix a problem. If I had to grab one little bag, I used a DeWalt tool bag that came from one of the drills. I have a set of pliers, screwdrivers, all the little things in, a couple of hose clamps. I can grab one bag and fix 99% of the problems I'm going to run into on a short term. That one tool set will fix most of the problems I need to do on a 15-minute time frame. Anything bigger than that, I'm going to have to get different tools, other parts. But I need something if I got a broken hose clamp. I've got a through hole that the hose popped off. I got a clamp in there or a plug in there. Something you can grab that and open it up and fix whatever.
So you got a smaller version of your tool bag,
right?
And you got your other tools. Okay,
right.
That's a good idea. I need to do that. Okay. Biggest mistake you see new cruisers make when anchoring or in the mooring field in Key West?
Scope, SCOPE.
Right.
Keys. If you anchor with a less than a 10-to-1 scope, let me explain what that is. If you're in 10 foot of water and you don't have 100 foot of chain out at the top of the water from your anchor, that is not 10-to-1. The Keys are not a difficult anchorage, they're a challenging one. The amount of sand cover over hard packed coral underneath it becomes a difference on how you anchor and how the anchor holds. The longer the scope, the better the anchor digs in.
Right.
The biggest mistake people down here, they're used to anchoring up in the lakes and the channels and that.
Oh,
They'll get
yeah.
with a 5-to-1 scope. So in 50 foot of water or 10 foot of water, they put 50 foot of chain out.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I've never heard 5-to-1. That seems like
You'll see that quite often from people that come down.
Because they're used to being on lakes or something.
They're being on lakes now. 10-to-1 is the bare minimum. If you come to the Keys,
okay.
10-to-1 at the water line.
Another tip of the day. Okay. Favorite anchorage in Key West that isn't totally overrun. We're not going to try to make it overrun, but I've got mine.
If you come down, and I tell people the west side of Fleming, as you come out of Key West, you'll see Key West Harbor proper. As you go north of Key West, back around that channel, not to the mooring field, but up that channel line, you have Frankfurt Bank on the left side. You have Fleming, West Fleming anchorage on the right. West Fleming anchorage is a very great holding area. It's very busy. It's very packed because people know it's a very secure anchorage.
It's packed. So it protects you from the east winds?
It protects you from the east winds, from the northeast winds, which is the bad blows. It's only the occasional west wind, northwest wind you'll get out of an odd storm that you're not protected.
Okay.
It's going to change a little bit with the new anchoring laws and the mooring field they're planning to put around wisteria anchorage in the next 30 to 90 days.
What they're going to put mooring balls around?
They're going to put mooring balls around the wisteria anchorage area. That is already funded through the state. It's going to be a county mooring field. They're putting 100 balls out there for boats up through 65 foot in length. And
they're going to charge for them?
Yeah, so it'll probably be in the $250 range because you'll have to pay separate down.
So close, yeah.
And you're literally talking, 3/4 to no more than a mile from the downtown marina.
Yeah, I've kayaked out there too.
Yep. If I wasn't where I'm at now, and I was coming down here, and that mooring field is in place off of Wisteria, 100%.
No brainer. Yeah. So what are all those people going to do?
A lot of the boats. Key West is unique. We have somewhere over 1,100 boats that are liveaboard housing in Key West. These are boats within 1 mile of Key West proper, all the way around the island. A percentage of them are going to go to the mooring field. However, a percentage of them can't go because
can't afford it.
They can't afford it, or the boats are not functional or not registered. So a lot of them are going to get moved around a little bit. But the typical cruiser that comes to Key West, you grab a mooring ball, either in Garrison Bight or when they put the new mooring field there by Wisteria, hands down, you can spend 3 months there or 3 years there, and you're going to be secure. And
I'm interested in that.
A very nice spot.
Yeah, I'm definitely interested in that. And going back to the free pump out boat, they come out once a month?
They come out once a week.
Once a week, and you
don't even have to be on your boat. You register with them. It's called On the Hook. It's the current system they use. They come out, pump your boat out, whether you're there or not, once a week.
That's amazing.
Cover the entire Monroe County, all the way from Key West to Key Largo.
That's amazing. I mean, I heard that too, and it's just like, wow. They just really want to keep it clean.
They want to keep the waters of the Keys here pristine.
Right.
And one of the complaints you always hear when you talk about boaters living on their boats, anchoring out, well, they're pumping sewage in the water. No, that's not the true fact. Most of your true boaters down here want to be, they want to be able to get in the water. They want to swim around their boat without worrying about what's in the water. Float days. Throw a float out the back of your boat and sit in the water for 3 hours
But it has to happen.
It has to happen.
I mean, people do it, right? I mean,
and like I said,
there's a big fee though. There's like a $25,000 fine.
You're going to get fined very severely for it. They consider everything at zero discharge in the Monroe County area because of the sanctuary and stuff like that.
Right.
So because of that, and them doing it once a week, whether you're there or not, there's no reason not to.
There's no reason. Yeah. No. Even if your boat's not working, as long as you have that.
As long as you have pump out and holding tank, they'll pump you out.
Okay. Do you miss anything about living on land?
Walmart.
Yeah, you don't have a Walmart.
No.
We are closer to Cuba than we are closer to Cuba.
What did she say?
To a Walmart or a Chick-fil-A.
Chick-fil-A. Target. Come on.
No, you don't need all that there. I mean, you've got Amazon.
Amazon.
Here's the key that most people understand: why you stage in Key West, why you take the 3-4 months sitting in Key West. I can pick up my phone, order an Amazon part, whether it's a membrane from a water maker or bilge pump float sending, and it'll be here in 3 days.
That's right.
Maybe 4.
I've done it.
You've done it, and it doesn't cost you $700 to get it freighted to the middle of the Bahamas.
Like we did.
Now, so John said they just changed the policy of maybe it's just the boat tenants that are there full time can't receive mail at the dock store.
Most of the marinas don't have mail delivery at the docks. That's been that way a long term. However,
Amazon,
post office and all that will take Amazon deliveries. All you have to do is sign a piece of paper saying I want Amazon, UPS. They'll deliver it to a post office. They got multiple places in Key West that'll take packages for you for free.
UPS.
Okay. All right. So not the dock store. The dock store won't accept Amazon.
Store, not downtown's dock store or
it's the post office or UPS store.
UPS store. You can even arrange pack mail. Will take a delivery. Could be a 90-pound anchor chain or 150-pound set of
Mhm.
parts, they'll charge you $15 to deliver. All you do is go up there and pick it up. So you have options for mail delivery here in Key West. Most people end up with a small mailbox down here they can move around. You're here for 6 months. You take a mailbox for 6 months. You sign a piece of paper saying, I'll take my Amazon deliveries here, and they'll hold them for you till you get there.
Okay.
It's like
All right.
$8 for 6 months.
So it's a little bit of a hike to go over to the, I mean, it's a bike ride over to the post office.
There's there's a couple of places. Pack Mail's at 4th Street and Roosevelt. It's about 4 blocks from the downtown Mooringfield area.
Okay.
You can Dinghy out. You can go by Ocean Grill, which is further Simonton area. There's multiple places, and I'm hoping one of the things I'm trying to work with the Marina downtown is give them a handout when you come in, first time in. Here's your list of where do you fill propane at? Where do you get mail delivered?
Oh, yeah.
So it's going to be like a 4 or 5 page pamphlet, Cruiser's Guide to Key West. It's going to be sitting in the office. Pick it up.
Are you going to write it?
I'm going to write it. I've been working with a couple of people in the Marina to tell people, because the big thing, people come in and goes, I need to refill my propane tank. Where do I get it? One place. That's Orion's. They're there from 1:30 to 3:30 Monday through Fridays.
Yeah, I was wondering that one time when I was there. I never figured it out. I should have come and asked you.
Yeah, a lot of stuff. And because having been here for enough time and being downtown for the last 5 years, these questions I get asked every day. And this is some stuff we build into, the Cruiser's Guide for Key West. That's going to be part of the book that comes out. It'll be a appendum at the end to tell you, where do you do this stuff? How do you find this stuff? Where do you got to go? What's your grocery stores? How do you get stuff? How do you provision? A lot of this stuff will be built into the book as a kind of an add-on, but it'll also be available at the Marina offices to pick up, somebody coming in.
Stop in St. Pete and go to Aldi's.
Or go to Aldi's in St. Pete, yes.
Go where in St. Pete?
Aldi's.
Sam's
Clubs, the bigger clubs up in St. Pete where you can stock up on supplies.
Okay, so what's next for you guys?
In the next 2 years, she's still teaching at school. I'm still working with the Marina and stuff here. In about 2 years, we probably plan to take off and go another 2 years down through the Bahamas, all the way down to probably down to past Georgetown, down into BVI's and stuff like that. We want to spend 2 to 3 years traveling the Bahamas and the Caribbean.
Okay, and then what?
Don't know. Everything's adventure. That's the nice part with the boat.
I have grandbabies.
She has one grandchild, another one on the way. So I think we're going to be spending a little more time this way than that way, but life gets in the way. Sometimes you make arrangements around it.
Yeah, and that's another thing about Key West is you get on a plane and you can go anywhere.
You can go anywhere in 3 hours. You can be halfway across the country in 3 hours out of Key West.
Right.
Well, in Tampa, my daughter lives in Tampa, St. Pete, so she can get on a plane in St. Pete, Tampa, and go anywhere.
And people look at me and go, well, you're in Key West. It's busy. I'm going to show you a picture real quick from the thing. This is looking out over my shoulder. This is what I look at every morning.
Beautiful.
I go, this is what I see. We have sunsets over this way. Everybody looks at me and goes, well, how do you deal with that? I go, Key West. This is, if you couldn't go to the Bahamas, this is the new Bahamas for most of the Keys.
It really is very convenient there because you got all the conveniences of the United States of America, but you're in the American Caribbean.
That's exactly it.
I have my Raw Bar shirt on, by the way.
Very nice.
Very nice. Raw Bar. I have a few of those.
That's a great place for oysters.
Yeah.
Let's see. So, are you ever going to go back to dock life?
No. I've been offered a chance 3 times to move back to a marina, back to a dock. And
what, like for free or something?
Very reduced, not free. Nobody does free in the Keys. That'll be anybody tells you it's free to live in Key West, they don't know what Key West is.
No.
But even going back at a reduced rate, I'm sitting on a boat in the middle of the bay here. I don't have to run the air conditioning. The weather is perfect. I've got a breeze through all day long. I'm not paying electric. I'm not paying water fees. I'm not paying dock fees. I'm living the life in Key West that most people look at and go, I'm a 15-minute ride to shore on my dinghy to go anywhere I want in the Keys or anywhere else. And you can't get better than this. I have dolphins play by my boat. I can go about 200 yards over my shoulder, and I will on Monday because they've got a new one-day mini season for locals. I can catch lobsters in 3 foot of water and have lobster dinner Monday night that cost me nothing.
Now, did you see the picture of you on the thumbnail?
Yeah,
Yeah.
two, yes.
I couldn't find a lot of pictures of you, but I love that one.
And tell people, we've dove in water 2.5 foot deep. We've gone along the shoreline, some of the structures. I've caught lobsters in 2.5 foot of water, reach down, pick them up, throw them in the dinghy. And opening day 3 years ago, we limited out 12 lobsters, 6 apiece here, in about 10 minutes.
Well, you probably know the number, but without a lot of, if you're living like you are, how much can people do it per month? You probably know the number. If you're not being extravagant
if you're
and
not
you don't
being
have a
extravagant,
house back home, you
don't
have
have a house back home.
insurance. You got insurance.
You know, insurance, believe it or not, you can get liability insurance for your boat cheap.
Well, you've got health insurance, but you have the Marina.
Right.
You probably got the city
Right.
benefits.
If you're relatively healthy, you're a boat that's functional, and you spend the time fixing the boat right, you can live in the Keys for around $1,000 a month. That's not going out eating every night. That's not living on Duval Street.
But we
drinking
do
bars.
that a lot.
We do that.
Not
a lot.
paying $150 for repairs an
Right.
hour.
And again,
That's you doing most of your repairs.
if you're simply mechanically somewhat inclined, you don't have to be a rocket scientist.
And I sew
Yeah.
things.
What'd you say?
I sew things.
So
You
she's-
sew things?
Yeah, she can
I've
do the
done
sewing and
vanity,
stuff like
I've done
that.
the top, I've done the crochet.
Do you do it for other people? You earn a little
I
money?
do things for other people. Yeah.
So you fix sails? You can
Sometimes.
fix. Nice.
Not sales
Not sales
anymore.
anymore. Chaps, dinghy, dinghy chaps, bimini
Maybe
covers.
top.
Oh, when I come down, will you make me some dinghy chaps?
Absolutely. If I have
Good. I've got an 8-foot tack cat.
time.
And-
Oh, you got one of those?
Oh, it's awesome. And
It's awesome.
it's in the summer when it's on the boat, it just bakes. And I try to cover it up with a tarp. I need some chaps.
Those are 8 foot's not that bad.
Okay.
I've made probably for a second dinghy, probably my 3rd or 4th set of chaps.
You've probably done 10 total in the last 5 years.
Yeah.
Well, you probably could I'll find them the measurements for a tack cat.
Right.
I'll go ahead and send you the money.
There are very specific measurements to take on a dinghy to figure out how much fabric you need. If you want
What do I need to do? I didn't quite hear that.
When you get down here, she'll take a template of the dinghy.
Okay.
Basically,
Okay.
like a piece of plastic, measures everything. So when you grab the handhold, it's not got a piece of cloth over it. So
Yeah, that would be so nice, and just not have to worry about it. The chaps are on there.
But-
It's not baking in the sun.
the one thing I want people to understand is you'll hear this thing: live in the Keys for free. Nothing in the Keys is free. But it is not as expensive as living as most people will tell you. As long as you take the time on a boat, as long as you take the time and understand, you still have to maintain the boat. You still have to spend a couple hours a day, or a couple hours a week, or a couple of hours a month. This part's not working right. If your hatch isn't working and doesn't close easy, when you get a rainstorm, if you can't open the screw on it and drop the hatch, you're going to get wet. That
Right.
affects the seals. So a lot of it is just your normal day-to-day. If you see something broke, you fix it. It's not.
You got to get ahead of it. You can't let these things
You
build
can't
up,
let it-
right?
You can't let
We've
it sit
had to
there.
hire someone twice.
In 18 years, I've hired somebody twice to fix things on the boat.
Oh, you've hired people. Ugh, I wish I could say that. Now that I'm using Chat GPT for so much, I'm going to try. I already have got I printed some things because they put a new Garmin autopilot on my boat with a remote, just like John. I wanted to be like John, and they screwed up some of the stuff on my chart plotter. It's not reading on there, but
And it's a cabling issue.
well, a cabling issue.
Yep, that means you got the wrong cable.
Well, it's just not showing up, but my depth and my wind speed disappeared.
Right, because of how the cablings run between the chart plotter, your sending units, and the autopilot, they have different cables that run things and terminate. So it's a cabling issue. If you
Okay,
type in-
because it's still showing up on my little satellite reader. I can
Yep.
see the depth there.
So if you go into Chat GPT and type in what's the correct cabling for your Garmin model number and stuff,
Okay.
it'll show you all the stuff that you need to put in.
Well, John's coming up Monday, and we're going to tackle that. And he did say, if it's a cabling issue, no problem, we'll fix it. And I love it when he talks like that. Well, no
Yep.
problem, we'll fix it. I got to get that going. But once that's all set up, I'm going to have a great setup. Because
Perfect.
You know how he sits up there and he just steers his boat with his remote. Do you have one of those?
We have the autopilot, but ours is older. We've got the Garmin chart plotter. Our boat's 43 years old. A
Right.
lot of stuff still is. Some of it's still 35 years old. But
Wow.
it still works. And that's some of the stuff I tell people is you don't have to have the newest, greatest of everything to make it work. The less complicated you make it, to be able to fix it, it makes it easier.
There's another good kitty.
Her name's Chunk.
Is that a calico? What is that?
Yeah, it's calico.
Yes.
Oh.
So we have one called Bowie and one called Chum.
No, you can't call it Chum.
Had an anchor and we lost him.
He got rescued and they didn't decide to want to bring him back. So he's living a shore life somewhere. But yeah.
Oh my God. Oh, you had another one that went to shore. Oh.
He went to shore and somebody grabbed him, so it happens. But
Oh my God.
a lot of the stuff, people, when you look at it, you have to plan not for today, not for next week. Look longer term. What do I want to do? If I want to be on the boat for 4 or 5 years, don't buy things to fix it today. Look for things that's going to last you several years.
Don't jerry-rig it.
Don't put it
I call it, I want yacht quality because
Yes.
I'm
Fix
it's
it one time.
expensive. Right. I want to buy the best that within reason, because I want it to be quality. And it's no matter what, you're still going to be changing out stuff. It's just,
Yep. Our one model we had was going into it. Fix it one time, fix it right. And I've fixed a few items 3 times because of the age. We've been on the boat 18 years. Things wear out. So some of the stuff that would last a normal boater their lifetime, living on the boat full time, you use a boat 100
like the
times.
water pump and all that.
The water pump, one of our issues was the wasn't the bilge pump. It was the what do we have failed? Oh, the refrigeration. The original refrigeration failed. We replaced it with a set. It lasted 13 years.
Wow.
It gave up the ghost. To get parts was going to be a 2.5 month wait, so we changed to a different system, which works just as well. A little more power draw, but again, the first one lasted 13 years. I keep complaining about that.
That's awesome. 13 years.
Yeah,
Like,
we
it's
built
just
the
a
box.
box.
We created the whole thing.
With
We did all the
fiberglass,
stuff, and it lasted 13 years. We
so
put a
what
new
we did
system in.
was, Sailboat has a great system.
Let's see your face. You're going to be in a clip. I got to see your face. There we go. There.
I'm a teacher on recovery right now.
She's on spring break or summer break,
Summer break.
so she's enjoying not having to work.
Well, Stan, I'm going to end with this. We've been on here now for an hour and 23 minutes, and thank you so much. I remember when I was down there, and those wise guys down there were trying to park the boat, which you're not allowed to do in Key West Bight unless you have a slip.
Right.
Right. And they were drunk, and they were, and they were saying not nice things to both you and me. You were helping me tie up my boat. And then Prince came out, and he was just like walking his little walk and had to chase him off. So that is something that is a rule there. Tell us what that is so people don't make that mistake.
When you come to Key West, we have dinghy space. If you come in with your dinghy, as long as it's under 13 foot, you can park at the dinghy dock. It's $15 a day. They don't mind it. If you bring your boat down there and you come in like you want to get fuel, and you come in after hours, they are going to charge you a nightly rate to park at the docks. And people go, why can't I park for free? It's a very busy marina. We handle, on average, about 500 to 600 dinghies a month coming into shore from boats anchored out.
Well, I'm talking about, remember, it was a power boat. It was
a power boat.
I think they wanted to drop somebody off, but you're not even allowed to do that.
You got to make a reservation or make a request before you do any of that.
Okay.
And it's because it's a very busy area.
Yeah, everybody would be doing it. It would just be a nightmare.
Everybody would be doing it. And you have to understand, we're a high tourist area. So we have probably 80 or 90 commercial boats that come in and out of the basin every single evening. So
it's very entertaining.
It's very entertaining. People used to say, well, go to the boat ramp and watch them launch boats. No. Come to any fuel dock and ask them, look at them try and tie up their boat when they park. But no, I tell people the first rule is call the marina, ask where I can park and how much it costs. Almost every place in the Keys will let you park somewhere, but it's going to cost you. It's not expensive. It's not exorbitant. They just want to know you're coming in.
What do you mean? Like if they want to come in for 30 minutes or an
30
hour?
minutes, or they want to go catch dinner, or they want to catch, lunch someplace, or they just want to get off the boat while
So you do have a system for
we
that.
have a system in place. Most of the marinas do that. But
Okay.
The first rule is pick up your phone, call them.
Okay.
Cell phones are everywhere this place at this point in time. You can Google and know any marina you want from here to Alaska, and they'll tell
Yeah.
you.
But
pick up
just don't
the
come
phone.
in drunk and
Just don't
calling
come in
names
drunk
out and cussing
Park
and
here. It doesn't work that way.
We have actually left.
you were, and that's what I meant. You were so calm and you just remained calm. And Prince did too. He just kind of walked out there.
He was calm.
Yeah, Prince was, yeah.
They were both calm.
Yeah. Yeah. These people were unruly and they were being very, they were handling it good. They remained calm and
We actually left our boat and took our dinghy down to Key West Marina because someone parked their 30-foot
where they should be. The police locked them up, and until I could get down there.
No one locked them up.
Well, they did.
It was at night?
It was at night. 10:30 at night. We left our boat, went through Fleming Key, down to Key West Bight. They had parked where a charter boat came in, and the charter boat couldn't park where they were supposed to drop off passengers. So we dropped the passengers off. It was a little more dangerous to step up where they were supposed to be, but on the fuel docks. Stan had to go down there and make them walk to an ATM and pay for parking where they were because PD wouldn't do it.
Think of pulling up where a cruise ship parks, and you park your boat where the cruise ship's supposed to be. That's what you see every day, both times. It can be solved by just picking up the phone, going, "Where do I park?" They'll tell you, and they'll direct you.
Little common courtesy.
Now, do people actually do it? Oh yeah.
Yeah, they do it.
Get away with it? Yes.
So the night security will call. Well, like if somebody comes up there, they'll call you.
Yeah.
Sometimes
they call PD, but usually they'll call me or one of the other marina people.
And what do? You go over there.
Sometimes I can talk them through on the phone, going, "Here's what you got to do." On the worst case scenarios, I have to go in, but it's a hit and miss.
Yeah, don't make me come out there. That's what you should say.
Don't make me come into shore. You will not like me at 10 o'clock at night.
I will not like you.
All right. Well, you guys are great. The plan is I'll be down there. And then John and I are going to buddy boat over to the Bahamas. I have taken my former boat, my other 27-foot boat over there, but I've never made it to Georgetown. So I would like to do that.
It's a Velcro dock.
You'll get
November, December.
Amazing.
It's amazing. Now,
and
look at the current rates they're charging for the Bahamas. Do a little bit of research. In the last 30 days, they've jumped the rates up, not only for cruising permits, but anchoring permits, fishing permits.
Yeah, I've noticed that. The cruising permits are a lot higher.
That could change in the next 90 days when they start getting the backlash from it. But just make sure.
Oh, really? You think it'll come back down?
It should come back down. It has to.
We pay what, $300 for?
Last year was $300 for 3 months. They want now in the $1,800 range for 3 months.
Yeah, I saw a guy online who said I think it was like $700 something for a month.
Well, again, it's the boat has a fee. The anchor, if you're on an anchor, you have to pay a fee, and they want so much for a fishing fee.
Right.
The Bahamian government does this every few years. You'll see them change it, and all of a sudden the small islands, the family islands, will go, "We're not going to make any money because nobody will come here," and they'll pull it back. They did that with the mooring balls last year. They were going to put all these mooring balls in. You couldn't anchor anymore. That got squashed within about 90 days. So you'll see some changes on this, but just, I tell everybody, take a little research ahead of time. Look at follow the news groups, follow the websites, follow your group because you're posting a lot of the information on this. It's a very good source.
So if any of your female followers want to know about cooking, coffee, and provisioning.
Yes, and I did an episode on provisioning because I have some people that go regularly, and we did a video on provisioning for the Bahamas because you can't get a lot of stuff in the Bahamas.
That's true.
Including parts and the food that you want. If you want to eat it, you better take it.
Yep.
So the one thing that I bought the most of were fresh vegetables, onions, peppers. I very rarely found Brussels sprouts, sometimes I thought asparagus, but peppers and onions are my main like fresh fruit. Apples, bananas, oranges. That's what I bought the most of. Fresh
What, peppers and onions? Like they didn't have
peppers.
onions?
They did have onions. They had peppers and onions.
It's not something you can take and bring with you
Right.
because storage time doesn't last.
Right,
This
right.
lasts a little bit longer than I thought they were going to last. Like fresh like potatoes or whatever. You store in
We
your-
should do another podcast. That would be,
That's fine.
you have to show your face though. We should do another podcast where you talk about that.
I'm just not Gary.
You look great. Your half of your face is covered up though. Yeah.
Hi.
Move it down so we can see both of you. Let me get a good shot of you guys. There we go. Yeah.
Hello.
Can we do another podcast where you talk about provisioning? Because you got a lot of
Yes.
good
Yes,
information.
because we thought we knew what we were doing when we provisioned the first time.
We're wrong.
And then we were wrong about a lot of things.
How long were you there?
So
The first time was about 5.5 months.
5.5 months. So what we learned was, we bought the Mylar bags with the O2 oxygen little things to put into them. White rice was fine. Pasta was fine. Bisquick, pancake mix, no.
Really?
Yeah, because it takes the yeast out of it.
Your pancakes come out about that thick. They didn't
Ah.
rise.
So when you put pancake mix into a Mylar bag, put O2 absorbent into it, it takes the yeast out.
Ah.
I'm like, I know how to make pancakes with water. What am I doing wrong? They're like,
You're really cooking on that boat. You're making pancakes. You're
he thought he starved. He did not starve. I cooked pancakes, eggs, and bacon, sausage, and all kinds of stuff. But even the Bisquick with the yeast doesn't last in the Marlar bags because the O2 packets you put into it takes the yeast out of it. So
Okay.
that would be a great
Tip of the day. So what do you
Or-
do?
or like
What do you?
So you pack the flour, you pack the baking soda, baking powder, you have your stuff, and you have yeast packets. So you make them from scratch,
You
or
make
use
it from
very
scratch.
quick. Or you use them very quickly.
A what?
You use them very quickly.
Okay.
You
You
don't
wait.
store it very long.
You
But
eating a
also-
lot of carbs
Yeah.
at the beginning of the trip.
Yes.
And then also brown rice does not last in the
Brown rice is like same thing as nuts. Your walnuts and that, because they have a high oil content, they go
Right.
rancid.
Yeah, the brown rice.
Ah.
We love brown rice. We love the wild rice. But
What if you get those little cups that are packaged? You know, the minute rice,
Well,
which is very good, by the way.
well, you have to take them out of package if you don't. We don't have a microwave.
We haven't had a
Ah.
microwave in almost 7 years.
Right. So I have no microwave.
No microwave.
No microwave. And that's why I practiced for 3 months prior. Like, how am I going to heat stuff up? How am I going to make my coffee? How am I going to make my crock pot rice or whatever? I found a crock pot you can use on the stove. So you have a crock pot or a pressure cooker.
Pressure cooker.
Ooh.
And the newest
That's
thing
a
you
game
see, you
changer.
hear people talking about the air fryers.
Oh, I have an air fryer. It's really small, but
And
it
it'll
runs
run
on
off
the inverter.
It'll run off the inverter.
I can cook shrimp quesadillas.
Man, you're a lucky man, Stan.
I cook all the time. In fact, he has sausage and rice down there waiting.
And he's such a slender man. I mean, you would think that, you know,
No, he's not.
he's a slender guy.
He's not. He's fine.
I know it's a compliment. He's not.
He's fine.
He's not fat.
What
No.
you find is most people that are living on their boat full time are the healthiest group that you'll find out there. Because
I like
we're
hearing
in fresh
that.
air all the time, we're always moving around, and you're not sedentary at all.
Right.
Unless
Yeah.
you've been watching something like Chicago Fire and Venice.
Oh, yeah, I watch a lot of.
He does. He does. The other advantage of having a Starlink, you can get everything you need wherever.
It's a game changer. I'm a realtor. And so I have to be in touch. And when I came back in 2023, left the Keys, I overnightted in the Everglades with no cell service, and I have my Starlink. I have the cameras going.
Yep.
My husband could check in on me. What a game changer! I can go different places now.
And the new mini system is about a third the power usage of the old system.
Yeah, I've heard of that.
We just installed it here on the boat in the last week. We've been running the version 2 for 2 years.
I've got 3.
Yep,
I've got
3 is good. The new mini is running off of 12 volts, so you're really, it's a very low draw system.
Oh, there we go. Number
There's
3.
the third.
Yeah, and that's Chum.
That's Marco.
That's Marco.
Oh, that's Marco.
That is Chum's brother.
One's a fat cat, the other one's a skinny one.
Okay. Hey, baby. Hey, baby. The kitties are looking at me.
Starving.
Well, thank you very much for having us.
Thank you very much, you guys.
More female questions about cooking and reprovisioning.
You should watch some of my past episodes. I've had some great women on.
I look at these women like, oh, that's cool.
Last week I had a woman on. She's like 63 now, but she didn't start sailing until she was 60. And she's a retired teacher, and she sailed from Martha's Vineyard to the Keys. To Georgetown and back by herself.
Yep.
That's amazing.
Listen, I drive.
She's the one who drives. I'm the grunt. I pull up the anchor, I raise the sail.
You're the first mate?
I drive. He's the first mate.
Yeah,
first mate. Yeah.
Pulls the sails. He drops the anchor. I'm the one back here driving.
We're good at that. I mean, I've gotten I have to say I've gotten pretty skilled at coming in and out of marinas in all situations, and just by doing it.
That's what I've never done. I've never once pulled into a marina or backed out of marina.
Well, you have to understand, we've only been into a marina one time in the last 8 years.
Every time we left St. Pete, I was the one who pulled the lines. He drove out of the marina and into the marina. Even in Bimini, I'm like,
Yeah.
There's a lot of current there in Bimini.
Oh, yeah.
But the winds were so high and it was so small.
Yeah.
I wasn't confident.
Really gets the adrenaline going. It's fun.
Never once pulled into a marina or out of a marina.
But you pulled up to a lot of mooring balls.
I pulled up to a lot of mooring balls and I've anchored a lot.
You should do it. It's just by doing it. That's the only way you can get comfortable with
it. Marina. We never go to the marina. That's
it's just you don't need it then.
That's it.
We will go to the marina in August.
Probably, maybe to get some work done.
Yeah.
Well, don't you get a discount in September?
September up to September, it's a cheaper rate.
At Key West Bight.
It's still Key West. We don't get any discount working there, but it's a cheaper rate from the
I think that's when those people. It's like half or something, right?
About a third less.
About a third, not even half.
Nice. And John's got that great.
He's got the Liveaboard spot. He's been there for a while, so he is.
I told him he's grandfathered in. He says he's great grandfathered in. Great grandfathered in. Yeah. I mean, he's got the best rate. I mean, he can't leave. He can't ever leave, or it's gone.
It's gone.
Yeah.
All right, guys.
All
Thank you so much. What a pleasure. I will see you down there. What's that?
When will you be here?
I'm hoping I'll be there on my boat in October, but I might fly down there before. I'm all over the place.
Well, I have a grandbaby that's due November 10th. So
you have a what?
A grandbaby due, a granddaughter.
Oh, November 10th. Congratulations.
Number 2. Woo!
Wow. Congratulations. I know that's exciting. You're going to be going up there.
Yeah, she'll be up there a lot in November, December.
So St. Pete?
Yeah.
Well, I'll be passing through there.
Right.
There you go. I'll be passing through.
In St. Pete or Tampa, I'll be up there August, September, October, November. I'll dry camp up for Thanksgiving and Christmas.
Well, when I'm there and you're there, you're both there. I would love to do a tour of your boat. I would love to video it.
No problem. We'll do that.
All right, guys. Thank you so much.
Thank
and
you.
I always end it with salty abandon